It's not uncommon for urban explorers to break the law from time to time. One might trespass to see a man-made monument that once was full of human life. What happens when a couple of urban explorers break into an abandoned mall that begins to break its own laws, those being of space and time? Today, we will answer that question. Welcome to Fear Talk Radio at night, here on the Fear Talk Radio broadcast. Here on Fear Talk Radio at night, we will tell and read horrific stories from the internet. Today, we will dive into the Dead Mall series. Written by Ian Dean, the Dead Mall series focuses on an abandoned mall called Sleepy Pines. Many of Ian Dean's stories focus on nostalgic horror from the 80s and 90s. This first story in the Dead Mall series sits between the prequel and the sequel and is titled, aptly, Dead Mall. This serves as the original tale in the series. Thank you so much for joining my co-host Jonathan and I on this adventure as we dive into Dead Mall. We are here. Brand new show on Fear Talk Radio.
Wait, did we decide a name? I was like,
okay.
Oh, did we?
It was said in the introduction of this pod, but future Taylor, who just did the introduction, knows exactly what it is.
Ooh, spooky.
So with this brand new format that we're doing, we are looking to hop into old creepypastas and stories and basically dive into the narration of it itself and comment on it. This is taken in big part by a podcast I'm sure a lot of people who are interested in this one are familiar with, Creepcast. That has a lot of inspiration on the channel in general, us covering horror news. And then on Grim Logic, us covering true crime, true horror happening in the world. This is all due in part by the horror media that Jonathan and I consume. And so we love horror media, and Creepcast is a big part of that. So this is a brand new medium that we're going to be jumping into of storytelling, story reading, and basically judging and then getting scared.
Yeah, I actually pitched this idea to Taylor because one of the I usually don't listen to their podcasts. Like Creepcast is definitely not someone I went out of my way to listen to. That was definitely more something in the realm of what Taylor or my girlfriend listened to. They were really into it. And Taylor, we actually never got to talk about it. Like I don't think we actually talked about it officially on the podcast. You met them.
Yeah, no, I ended up meeting them at their live show, and it was super awesome to meet two people who have been like really inspirational to me as a creator, diving into this world of content creation in general.
You said that their performance that they did, you seeing it live, was a big inspiration to you as well, right?
Oh my gosh, it made me look at them, and I said that is exactly how I want to invoke like creativity and inspiration in other people, because it made me so inspired myself. So that's basically what I want to do through this, and just hop into freaky stories that we can have fun with.
So I'm actually really excited that we're doing this. Like I think I've been trying to, like, I know I'm not going to get anything about Dead Mall on my like TikTok feed or anything, but I'm like, God forbid I do. I got to stay away from anything about Dead Mall, like, because that was the first one that you told me. I know you said sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You said some other ones that you wanted to read as well that I believe I knew a little bit more about. I know you said something about Smile Dog at one point.
Yeah, okay, so Smile Dog is pretty short, and it's more of a photo creepypasta than anything else.
Like Jeff the Killer, basically.
Yeah, like Jeff the Killer. It circulated in the early 2010s.
Also, I know this intro is very long. I just want to go and give a disclaimer. I'm not the best at reading. That was one of the biggest things that I had a fear of for this story. Was I think my reading might not be the best. I'm not diagnosed, but we think I'm dyslexic. So if I stutter, if I have a lot of mispronunciation, like I mispronounce words, or if I have struggled reading big words, Taylor, please help me out as best you can. And I'll try to reread it to make it make sense for the viewers.
I'll be covering all the narration, and Jonathan will be covering the conversation between characters and whatnot. Very Creepcast like, but it works out really well because I get to work on my reading skills now.
And you know the story, right?
I have no idea about this
You
story.
oh
I
you
just
oh
know.
oh you actually don't know about it.
No, I'm going into this blind.
Oh shit. Wait, okay, that's actually dope. I thought you were gonna know about it.
No, no, no. Okay, so with like, okay, what is this episode? The first story we're going to be covering is titled Dead Mall. This is a part of a trilogy of stories that were released in, I believe, the early 2010s. The first one is Dead Mall. Then there's a sequel called Dead Pines, but there's also a prequel called Sleepy Pines. And so these are the three stories that encompass the Dead Mall series. We're going to be starting off with the first one, dead set in the middle, not the prequel or the sequel. It's just titled Dead Mall. And if we like this one, it's fairly long, but if we like it, we will go back and read the prequel and then the sequel. And yeah, they might be in this video as well. We don't know yet because we don't know how long this one's going to take to read, but we will see.
I'm ready to get into it whenever.
All right, without further ado, my friends, everyone listening, grab your popcorn M&Ms or whatever it might be that you like to eat, and let's get to the storytelling.
Chapter 1. There's no chapters.
It was called Sleepy Pines Mall, a few miles off an interstate in America's Northeast, at the center of several small towns. It was a single story and only had 2 anchor stores, but it was sprawling considering its almost rural location. Built in 1973, it was one of the older shopping malls and opened before there were long-term strategies on mall viability. Popular for a time, its occupancy dwindled in the late 90s, and it lost its movie theater and Sears by 2003 before becoming neglected, poorly maintained, and sometimes dangerous commercial plaza that was outdone by nearby rivals, and doomed by surrounding negative growth trends of the towns that kept it fed. The food court closed in 2006, and the last stores followed a year later. Sleepy Pines had its fans and grown adults who had gone there as children playing its nostalgic visits, as many malls do. But by 2010, it had become a mostly forgotten derelict with a parking lot full of weeds. 10 years later, a lengthy demolition was in its final stages. I had been assigned the foreman of the construction of the building that would replace it, a large warehouse and distribution center for a major retailer. I would frequently pay the site a visit as the walls were torn down and the roof was gutted, myself having gone to the mall several times in my youth whenever my family was passing through the area, so I knew the layout well. By the winter of 2020, all that really remained of the structure was the back of its atrium, which once overlooked the fountain. A painted mural on the tiles covered that wall. Efforts to save the artwork delayed its destruction several times, but enough funds were never procured to bring the wishes of perhaps only a dozen to fruition. I'm no critic, but I found it rather creepy anyway. European settlers amidst a backdrop of pine trees, with natives they drove out instead depicted as their friends. Their faces were plain and simple, their eyes staring off into a space where there was once a skylight. On the other hand, the trees looked like they were made by a different painter, and one more talented. The pines were muted in their colors, but highly detailed, with layers of darkness in their shadows where you might expect mischievous forest creatures to reside. The swirling, intricate patterns of the nearly paint black took forms of deranged beasts, if looked at closely enough. But I think it was just the artist having fun, and not acting out of ill intent. It wasn't like the vast majority of the shoppers would stand around and study the mural closely, not when there were sales to be found and warm pretzels to be had. Do you know what this reminds me of?
What?
The Denver airport.
Oh, okay.
They're talking about this big mural on the wall that's like freaky and like terrifying, and you can basically see these creatures inside of the trees.
Yeah.
This reminds me exactly of the Denver airport and the terrifying imagery that is surrounding it. Do you know anything about the Denver airport?
I have no idea.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So basically, there's a whole bunch of freaky shit going on with the Denver airport where they have these paintings and these sculptures in the airport itself that look like it was made by cults and are really freaky. Let me see if I can't put one up on screen and send it to you. Okay, yeah, I just sent 2 pictures of the Denver airport, and it is this terrifying horse and then this painting that is like cult-like in nature.
What
and these
the
are just
hell?
around. These are around the airport.
Like today, like now.
Yeah, yeah. And so people have conspiracy theories that like it's run by a cult. I think the mall was created by Freemasons.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what this is reminding me of. It gives off those cult vibes.
That's so weird.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I totally see what you mean by like it looking just like that. For anybody not listening, for anybody just listening and not watching on like YouTube or anything, I'm gonna try to describe this second picture. The picture is a woods on fire, and it kind of looks like a maybe not really, but it's like a whole bunch of kids like around animals. It kind of looked like The Last Supper in a way, because the way the girl in the middle is holding her arms out.
Yeah.
You
It looks exactly like The Last Supper, except for like demented.
Yeah, it looks more demented. It's just very unsettling. Like I would never understand like who in their right mind would paint that. And the horse having red eyes, like it's like a blue horse with like black veins.
That's exactly what this reminds me of, is like the Denver airport.
Yeah, very unsettling, but I could definitely see how you made those 2 comparisons. All right.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Now the mural itself would be coming down soon, and the ground on the next building would be broken after the spring thaw. What little demolition remained was also put on hold while the earth was still frozen. I went to the site a few days after New Year's to get my last look at the public painting. Exposed to the elements and surrounded by a landscape of snow, I checked in on the operations trailer while there, just to give my best wishes for 2021 to the guy in charge, who I'd gotten to know over the years from various other projects.
Hey, you still like strange shit, right?
He asked me after a few minutes of us chatting about our holiday get-togethers.
Got something you'll love. My guys found it just before they left for the winter. I'm no good at electronics, you know? So might as well see what you can do with it.
He handed me a GoPro camera, an earlier model that I would later learn was from 2013. The little box was in bad condition, but I didn't take into consideration how bad at first. And it was true. I did collect oddities and yard sale objects with inexplicable backstories in my spare time. It wasn't the camera itself that might rival some of my greatest finds. It was the potential of the footage on board it, if it survived. If it could explain how the poor thing had been beaten into such bad shape, then the story of the object would be made all the better. I had a long winter ahead of me with little else to do, so I figured I could spend a few nights cracking it open and seeing what was on its memory card.
Is this a boy or girl that the main character is? I don't think we've been told that yet, have we?
No, we haven't been told it yet.
So I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing like Jesus or like Jesus.
Well, maybe I'm stereotyping a little bit here, but I feel like they said they were a construction worker, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
I think that's like it would be a guy, but like that could be very stereotypical of us just doing that. So
no, for sure, but I feel like we can be safe in assuming it's a guy.
If we mess this up, I'm sorry, but we're gonna go with the guy right now. We don't know for sure.
Hey, this could change.
This could change. This could very much change, and we are going on and apologizing in advance.
In advance, yeah.
We don't ask for permission. We ask for forgiveness.
Amen to that.
Jesus.
I replied as I studied it in my hand.
It's like it melted. Yeah, we dug it up and couldn't tell what it was at first. I have no idea if there's some kind of fire here, but it doesn't even look like burnt damage.
He made a good point. There was no sign of smoke, no bubbles in the material, no metal fatigue. It was like something had turned it into clay and had its way with misshaping it into a twisted piece of art. The glass of its LCD screen and lens was intact, but the body was warped, stretched, and compressed as if by tiny fingers. If the memory card was still in one piece, I would never be able to pry it out. I'd have to carefully crack open the camera around it. Of course, I had a big collection of tools at home, so I knew I could do it. There was every chance the card was missing, or corrupted, or the data had been deleted, but now I was interested. I wanted to find out for certain. I told my friend we should have lunch sometime and headed home. I was making good money, but I got to keep the house after the divorce. Okay. So, this is an older person.
Yes.
But I got to keep the house after the divorce and had yet to get around to moving out and finding a better place. It was a small place, and half of it was spread across the cardboard boxes or otherwise just neglected mess. My home office was the only decent room remaining, and it also featured my tool bench and the arsenal I would use to disassemble the scarred and malformed lump that used to be a high-tech recording device. I managed to break it open and separate several of its pieces, and eventually the micro SD card fell out of its slot. It was perfectly readable and full of video files, which I transferred to my computer and organized by date. There were 23 in all, most recorded over the course of 2 days in December 2013. A cold, quiet winter outside my window. I turned up the heat, brewed some coffee, and went through the files, knowing nothing about the camera's owner or what they experienced when I began. I will summarize the portions that are more mundane or uneventful and fully transcribe the rest.
So this was like an intro, basically. Okay.
Yeah, so this seems like an introduction. What we have so far is we have this mall, this worker for the mall, who basically is telling us about its demolition and whatnot. And there's this painting at the mall that was freaky, and you could see these beasts and these monsters inside like the trees and whatnot if you got close enough. Mm-hmm. And then he goes back and he talks to one of his friends who has this old camera, and this camera was from like, was it taking videos at the mall at the time, or do we know this yet?
I don't think we know that yet. I think all we know is that they found it when they were doing some type of construction somewhere, and they know that someone on the team like freaky shit, and they're like, hey, like I think you'd like this, you know?
Okay. Cool.
And it says that there's 28 files, or 23 files, and it looks like the first few ones are going to be like just paragraphs, and then the other ones are going to be more recordings of what it is that we're going to be getting into. So I'm actually really excited to kind of find out.
Dude.
I'm like, oh wait, so
gosh,
there's burn damage on it, but there's no sense of a fire. Like what? It's already got me asking questions, and that's exactly what I was looking for in like a story like this. So
yeah. No, I'm so bought in.
I think it was a really good intro for that. I don't think it was like, obviously, like it wasn't the best intro. I think a lot of people, I could see a lot of people just being like, nah, I don't want to read this. I don't care. But me, I'm like, let's go, let's do it. So let's get into it. I'm ready.
So how it's laid out next is, if you're not watching it, there's file number 1, file number 2, and it goes all the way down to, I think, 23.
Yeah, he said that there was 23, I believe.
And it gives little summaries of what's in each file. So we're going to start with file number 1.
We'll be sure to mention where we're on. So we're on file 1.
File number 1. Recorded on a chilly morning, with the operator obviously testing camera settings outside their house. No address can be seen, and the surroundings are typical suburbia, making the location difficult to identify. There's snow on the ground. It starts with the operator saying,
"Nice,"
as they zoom out on their new camera's now empty box. They're inside their messy car, and they focus on the house for several seconds before the video ends.
I was thinking more like a nice.
I wanted you to go nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
He just points it back to himself. Nice.
Yeah, zooming in on someone's house from a messy car.
Ooh.
And then goes right to their face. Nice. It's like I'm creeping on this house.
Greatly. Nice.
You're outside stalking someone's house in the snow, and you just zoom in on your face and whisper, nice.
Nice. The camera accidentally turns back around. Oh, shit.
You weren't supposed to see my face.
All right, file 2.
File number 2. The file created date indicates that this one was recorded just a couple hours later. A young woman, around 30, is watching a pot boil on a stove. She's a small brunette with a bubbly attitude and big blue eyes. I quickly discern that this is the operator's girlfriend. They're both happy and energetic, like they have their whole lives ahead of them. Definitely not married, and they've probably only been together for a few months. I learn both of their names as the young man teases her a bit with the camera, and she remarks that she hopes he didn't spend too much on the new toy. I'm not going to share their real names, so let's just call them Mike and Jenna. They clearly really like each other, and the clip ends after he tells her,
This is a lot better than the old one. The mall videos are going to look great.
Jenna stirs some stovetop sauce and smiles.
File 3.
Mike records some football in the yard at another house. Even though the clip was made only a week after the previous, there's no snow present. In fact, everyone is running around in t-shirts, making it obvious that this was filmed much further south, away from the cold weather. It's a Thanksgiving gathering, and Mike is filming his 3 younger cousins toss around the old pigskin outside, trying his hand at some sporty action shots. It keeps going for about 10 minutes, and friendly banter is shared amongst the family members. The cousins seem to like Mike, even as he keeps denying their request to join in. At the end, Jenna walks out of the front door and tells everyone that the meal is ready.
So we're just basically getting random shots as of right now before we actually start getting into that. I'm also thinking back on the other comment of, what does he mean? Like, the mall videos are going to look great. Like, I'm really concerned, not like concerned, but I'm like, it just has me questioning, like, what does he mean by that? Like, why are they recording at a mall?
Yeah, okay, I have a prediction for it. I'm predicting that he knows something about the mural and how it has some type of maybe demonic, cult-like energy to it. And he's investigating. Maybe he's like a conspiracy theorist who wants to dive into it.
They could be like, because he said this is better than the old one. They could be like entertainers, like YouTubers or something like that. Like, they like having their own channel, and then they go around filming like conspiracy stuff.
That could definitely be it.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
Let's keep on getting through the files.
File 4.
Mike and Jenna visit a small local mall in the area on Black Friday. It's large, with 2 floors, and doing well. The place is packed, and Mike gets a few minutes of the mall Santa and a line of kids waiting to see them. Jenna looks at the camera and smiles again. Mike comments that he hasn't been to a mall this busy in years. It definitely makes me nostalgic for the pre-pandemic days.
File 5.
Mike is seen on video for the first time at the mall 10 minutes later. Jenna gets in some framing practice. Mike tries to humor her with grandiose gestures, like he's introducing the place to an adoring large audience. He says some things about the mall, but the crowds drown him out. The camera isn't really known for its audio recording quality. This lasts several minutes as Jenna gets used to the device and how to hold it steady. Towards the end, she recommends getting some sort of mount for it, which it was designed to be with. Mike agrees.
I feel like that's going to come back. Like the audio not being good, I feel like that's going to come back in some type of way.
Yeah, you have to assume, and we learned this in school for music and whatnot. Whenever you're studying a piece of music, basically anything that's put in a piece of art, whether that be books or music, was put in there for a purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This one's a little bit longer. Not too much longer, but it's a little bit longer. File number 6.
Things begin to get interesting. It's now December 15th, and Jenna is doing another camera test around sunset. Mike is seen crossing the frame several times as he moves about, and she pans the camera. They're getting footage of the front of Sleepy Pines Mall, which has just recently closed. Snow covers the neglected parking lot. Mike tries the door and looks frustrated that it's locked. I hear the agitated version of his voice as he remarks that they
should have come yesterday. Now it's too late.
Jenna assures him that there must still be some way in, that someone had forgotten to lock the many doors. I understand now that they're urban explorers of some kind, though they likely just keep things easy and focus on malls. Judging by Mike's response about that not being a good idea, I figured they hadn't broken into a place before. I rechecked the closure date of Sleepy Pines, which was December 14th. They had just missed their chance to legally or easily get inside and film a dead mall. Mike sounds ready to give up, mentioning how well their previous trip went to another mall in the region and that they're never going to get their subscriber count up at this rate. Relatable.
Dude, I understand that.
Jenna isn't so despondent. She wants to make her guy happy, and she mentions that since it took an hour to get out here, they should at least try to get in. Mike sighs, nods, and smiles. Okay, we know they're explorers now. We know what they're doing.
Yeah, see, I told you, I was like, I think they're like a YouTube channel.
Yeah, let me just tell you this, dude. How much of a lame urban explorer do you have to be to explore dead malls that just freaking closed? You're supposed to go
well, my thing is like, you should have done what YouTubers were doing so long ago, and you should have been sleeping in the mall. You hide. And
Yes.
then, do you remember when YouTubers used to do that with like Walmarts and stuff? Like they'll like go hide in like
oh my gosh,
the Walmart forts, or like
I actually lost some YouTubers back in the day because I used to enjoy their content. And basically what happened was they started doing this terrible content of hiding inside of a place like Chuck E. Cheese. And then they would just try to avoid the, minimum wage workers.
I'm like, come on. Like, I remember working in at a Chick-fil-A at the time, and I was like, dude, like, I couldn't imagine if someone was like hiding in like the loft upstairs, like, while I'm like, I get paid minimum wage, dude. Just get the fuck out.
You're like, I want to leave. You want to stay. This doesn't line up.
But yeah, no, I couldn't imagine doing that. All right. File number 7.
Shot half an hour later, and now it's dark. Jenna is holding the camera, getting a selfie of both of them. They're under a buzzing wall light somewhere on the side of the mall, near a cracked open service door. They both look pleased, but it's clear that they're still amateurs at this newest hobby they both want to do together.
Hey guys, it's Mike and Jenna.
She says with an awkward grin.
So we're at Sleepy Pine Malls, and we're going to explore it together. So if you watched our first 5 videos, you know that we're sort of interested in this kind of thing. We're just going to go in and take a quick look tonight and then come back out tomorrow during the day. I bet it's really creepy in there right now. All right, let's do it.
Mike adds and sidesteps inside. He opens the door and beckons in the viewer, while Jenna snaps the camera onto her shoulder mount. The service corridor is poorly lit, and the 2013 hardware doesn't have a sensor chip to shoot in the darkness very well. Digital noise fills the frame as they navigate their way into the mall proper, stumbling over some equipment, boxes, and cleaning materials that had yet to been removed from the area. Commentary is nearly non-existent until they find another door and emerge into a side hallway that brings them to the atrium. Most of the mall's lights are still going, although the mural is bathed in shadow, giving its already creepy, staring faces an ominous presence in the nearly empty building. For several minutes, the couple of explorers walk around, getting footage of the vacated stores. They reach the other end of the mall and head back to where they began, saying very little as they collect footage. The clip ends with a 10-second hold on the mural, during which Mike can be heard laughing after Jenna remarks,
Yeah, that's a little scary.
okay, that's kind of a freaky, mental image.
Why is the lights only off on that mural?
I don't know, but he also, was drawn to it in some way and, just holds his camera on it. Maybe because it looks so creepy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. All right. File number 8.
The two definitely don't have a script. As they perform a longer second walkthrough, they chat idly about how they feel about the place and experiences from past visits to other malls. just to fill dead air. Jenna is at least a competent cinematographer, even if her boyfriend leaves much to be desired in the information and anecdote side of things. If they weren't planning to add some interesting voiceover narration in post, they would have 2 very dull videos on their hands. Okay, why is he so judgmental on these people?
I know. I'm like, Jesus. Like you
in.
do any better, bud?
Yeah. It's around the 5-minute mark in this clip, while Jenna shows off the closed dollar theater, that Mike finally mentions some personal history. I learned that he used to live in the area as a kid and has fond memories of visiting Sleepy Pines, back when it had busy weekends and few closed stores.
Some of my earliest memories were of coming here with my dad when I was 5.
He tells Jenna.
So it must have been around 1991? I met Santa right over there.
He points to a wide open liminal space under a skylight in the center of the mall.
It's sad what happens to these places, how much memory fades over time, you know? Is that why you were so mad when you found out you missed its last day?
Jenna asks, now keeping him in frame like they're having an interview. He shrugs.
I paid it a visit a year ago when it was already deep into the shitter. It would have just been symbolic or something. We're both here now, right?
He pauses and looks away.
You ready to go? We can get more footage tomorrow during the day. We just have to keep the door from locking. Yeah, this place is starting to get to me. Empty mall at night is unnatural.
They turn around and head towards the hallway where they came in. On the way, Jenna suddenly stops and swings the camera around. She stares into the lightless corridor, so dark that the sensor can't pick up anything. A posted sign indicates that the mall security center is at the end of the hall. She lingers on it for an unusual amount of time, and Mike asks off-screen what she's looking at.
Don't you hear that?
She asks, nervousness in her voice. I turn up the volume as much as I can, but nothing strange passes through my headphones. If she's hearing something, the camera didn't pick it up. She looks into the corridor, as if more petrified by the fright than curious. In the end, it takes Mike dragging her away to break her focus, at which point she seems to snap out of it. The clip ends with Mike staring at her and asking,
"What's wrong?"
If she gives him an answer, she does so when the camera's off. At this point, I get onto YouTube and search their names. Adding mall into the search form on the second try brings me to their page. They really were just getting to their start. Their channel had only 6 subscribers, 5 videos with only a dozen views each, and no uploads for over 7 years. I skimmed through their videos, all visits to other malls, and find nothing out of the ordinary. Their most recent uploads started showing the signs of professionalism, with some of that voiceover narration they badly needed. Mike shares some history.
I'm sorry, this guy is such a fucking critique.
Yeah, he's like
fucking 6 subscribers, dude. I got like 8.
I think the only reason that
and I only have 4 videos.
This is sensitive to us because we get critiqued like this. Oh man.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go. Sorry, I just couldn't help but like laugh.
Mike shares some history of the empty mall in another state they had visited, and he does so with some enthusiasm. He and Jenna smile through their trip and look like they're having a good time walking through a shopping plaza of memories. They were one of YouTube's earlier dead mall channels. They had some promise. But seeing
Such
their
a backhanded comment.
They had
some promise.
He's going back and forth with, they're really terrible YouTubers, but now.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But seeing their inactivity only all but confirms my worries that something bad had happened to them. In a few minutes of Googling later, I found out that they had been reported missing in early January 2014, at least 2 full weeks after they had started working on their ill-fated video. Naturally, I get the urge to skip to the end and find out what might have happened to them, but I convince myself to keep going through the files in order to take this trip with them as their latest expedition's first viewer. On a second look at the first few minutes of this file, I noticed 2 pink pixels in random spots of the video. I know it's a sign of sensor damage, and I trace it back to when Jenna focused the camera into the dark hallway. After 30 seconds, one dead pixel shows up. A little later, the next arrives. It's as if there's something at the end of the corridor that is emitting a damaging, invisible light or other energetic phenomena which steadily overloads the camera sensor. But I don't know what else could do such a thing, other than a powerful laser or radiation. Eagerly, I move on to the next clip.
File number 9.
The dead pixels are here to stay. They're present throughout the video. Okay, so quickly, it seems like those pixels actually damaged the camera itself, or like whatever caused that like damage to happen to the camera whenever they zoomed it into the corridor.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, it
So
screwed up the camera itself.
I wonder if it's like a I feel like there's an SCP or something that did that to like you can't like record it or it'll like make it staticky. Or am I thinking of Slender? I think I'm thinking of Slender.
Slender did that too, I believe, but there's pictures and stuff of him.
Yeah. Okay.
So
anyways,
I see Sleepy Pine's exterior again. This time early in the morning, Mike stands at the side entrance, his breath filling the cold air. He gives Jenna a thumbs up, and she comes over and points the camera at both of them.
I'm Mike, and I'm Jenna.
They then add in unison.
And today
we're exploring.
No, we can't do that. It's not gonna leak. If we were like in person, yes, but not on Discord. No,
it's gonna be like, and today,
and today we're exploring the Sleepy Pine Mall.
Cute.
Nice.
They proceed. They proceed inside and arrive at the atrium without cutting the shot, even when there's no reason to keep things all in one take. But Mike must have done some research while at whatever hotel the two stayed at the night prior, and he starts going over the basic details of the mall, its opening date and designer, a brief history of the area, a few controversies about its construction and maintenance record, and the stores that have come and gone. All get a mention, though not in a scripted way. Mike has this stuff memorized, and he jumps from one bullet point to the next. Still, I'll give some props to the guy for remembering so much and getting it all out on his first try.
Did we get it this time?
He asks when they return to the atrium, where the fountain still hosts some coins and is half full of stagnant water. He smiles after Jenner quietly responds and adds,
"Okay, keep that one."
So, not actually their first try. I don't know how many attempts it took, since they must have kept deleting prior takes to keep memory space free. Before Jenna stops recording, Mike wanders around a little, looking into empty stores. Eventually, he suddenly notices the red light remains on.
You still rolling? Mike, I think we should check out the security area.
He sighs and looks a little annoyed.
You still care about that? Come on, we've seen just about everything else. We should get everything on film before they tear this place down. There will be rooms that are, forgotten forever, never archived. We don't need to be perfectionist. But you went on and on last night about the visit here with your family and friends, your memories of the holidays, decorations, and seeing other dollar movies. Really, Jenna? You're saying that it's all on camera? Just at least shut it off.
The shot lingers a few moments longer before Mike looks fed up and starts approaching the camera. He's about to grab it, and the clip ends. I guess every relationship has its arguments, but it's a strange thing to have a fight about it. It almost sounds like Jenna felt something was calling to her.
Why? Yeah, I was wondering, why is he getting so irritated?
Yeah,
I didn't understand why he was getting so irritated at her. Maybe I read it too irritating.
No. Jenna's obviously, I think it said she was irritated. Jenna's obviously being spoken to by something.
Yeah.
I don't think that he is hearing anything or anything's calling to him just yet because she had looked down the corridor.
Because she was like, "Do you hear that?" And he didn't hear it. So something is speaking to her.
Yeah.
File number 10.
Mike now stands in front of the dark hallway, although now with the sunlight coming through in the nearby skylight, it's no longer pitch black. Mike looks like he's just under a bit of duress. But I understand, knowing myself, that sometimes you just have to do what your significant other wants.
All right, so let's take a quick look down this hallway.
He says, lacking his typical enthusiasm.
Oh, okay. Here, wait. Lacking enthusiasm. All right, so let's take a quick look down this hallway. It'll be a place you probably only saw if you tried to shoplift or something. You know, filmed without permission, like only criminal scum would do. Mike,
Jenna exclaims. He fakes a smile and says,
let's check it out.
the camera has already acquired a third dead pixel before they even start moving into the hallway. More pop up as they get closer as the sensor becomes more and more permanently damaged. But with the camera on her shoulder and Mike leading the way, Jenna doesn't notice. It quickly becomes too dark for it to pick up anything again. But Mike turns on his phone's flashlight, which at least helps it show anything that within its cone of light. Okay, am I having an aneurysm? Give me 1 second. Which at least helps it show anything that within its cone of light.
That is weird. It said it shows anything that within its cone of light. I don't know. It's just
okay.
The way
I'm
they
leaving
worded
that
it
in
was
just so you
very-
know that was weird. That was a weird line you wrote there.
Yeah.
They enter the security office and freeze for several seconds. An old desk and monitoring station in frame.
What is that?
Mike asks.
Do you hear that? Yeah, some sort of electrical buzzing.
Jenna answers.
Weird, right? What the hell, Jenna? Why are you even checking this place out? One of us is going to get electrocuted. Can we please get out of... Okay. I thought it would be something more to see.
She turns around to leave, but then looks back at Mike again after realizing he isn't moving. He's staring into a small room to the side. His light is on a sign that reads, "Lost and Found." Now he's the one that seems to be under a spell and just has to know what's beyond the door. Without saying anything, he opens it and goes inside, and Jenna silently follows.
Ooh, I wonder
What
if
follows?
Hold on, I wonder
Yeah.
if he lost something as like a kid or something. He's like, I wonder if it's in there still. I don't know, like my teddy bear.
It's like he just age regresses all the way back to like 12. What's in there?
Just immediately has like a flashback of him just losing the teddy bear. It's like he's like, I've been regretting that moment that I let go of damn Henry.
His body stays the same, but his face just turns into a child's face. It sucks itself in.
Teddy? You in there?
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
Okay. What follows is difficult to describe. The video goes almost completely dark. For some reason, Jenna doesn't point the camera to whatever Mike is looking at until the end of the clip. His phone light is only seen at the edge of the frame. They both examine what is evidently a strange object.
What is that thing?
Jenna asks.
No idea. Never seen anything like it. Oh God, it's almost like it's moving. Mike, don't. It's warm. How'd this get here? Stop touching that thing. It's dangerous. There's no such thing as a cursed object, Jen. I think we should get this thing out in the light and get a better look at it. Oh shit. What did you do? Mike, what is it doing? I don't know. I didn't...
They turn and run out of the room, but the camera still can't pick up anything they might be hearing. The two are frantic, and the video, what little there is to see, becomes a shaky mess. By now, scattered pink pixels partially cover the video, completely obscuring the entire small segments of the frame. The two can be heard screaming in the last few seconds of the clip, which ends abruptly. With the darkness, I have no idea what kind of terror the two might have experienced. I would have thought they were already dead if this had been the last file on the card, or, at best, someone else found the camera and recorded more video before they had mysteriously disappeared. Analyzing the clip frame by frame reveals two elements that just barely got burned into the digital film. As they turn to run, Mike's light sweeps over the strange object they came upon. It's some sort of totem, made out of unknown dark material and maybe about 3 feet high. It sits in the middle of the lost and found room, on the floor, and is the only thing in the place at all. It's covered in carvings that form angular patterns, though I use the term loosely, because there is no real pattern to the lines at all. They swirl and break off from one another in random, unappealing ways. It's like one of those AI-generated images that almost looks like something familiar and identifiable, but it's never quite anything that really exists. Even so, it didn't look entirely alien, or forged by some forgotten tribe. It could have been someone's art piece, found at a garage sale many decades ago, its history and origins now long obscured. But the strange totem wasn't the sight I found really frightening. I don't think Mike and Jenna saw them before his phone light suddenly cut off, leaving them in darkness. I can't confirm whether or not they're moving or just writhing in place, but on the walls of the security room is a spreading sea of long, solid black worms. I don't know how else to describe things, but it's obvious in a few frames I get them that they're no trick of light or optical illusion. Worms molding over the walls like they're devouring it. After rewatching the entire clip several times, I close the video and try to wrap my head around what I just saw. I almost dread finding out what happens next and delay myself from opening the next file by refilling my coffee. It's around midnight when I move on to a recording made 3 hours after the last.
So it's 3 hours later, the next file.
Yeah, so the next one's going to be 3 hours later. So we have Mike and Jenna, and they just got like freaking...
Clearly found something they weren't supposed to.
They found something they weren't supposed to, and there's worms coming out of the walls.
Yeah, that's an unsettling sight.
It had said the object was like warm, and it was emitting some type of temperature, and obviously energy, because it was calling each of them in its own unique way.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm wondering what had them running, because the only thing that really we know is that they were just talking and all of a sudden something happened and they were like, oh fuck, we gotta run.
I'm wondering if they actually saw the black like worm things coming out of the wall.
Maybe, yeah.
They might have actually like ended up seeing it.
All right. File number 11.
I open the file with no expectations, and it right away defies explanation, while the smattering of dead pixels lingers. It's as if the past trauma the couple just experienced isn't a thought in their minds. And at first, it's like they've gone to another location and put on some new clothes, or rather, old clothes, because it looks like Mike pulled a wardrobe out of the late 80s and changed inside of a brightly lit dressing room, all in the span of a few hours. Mike stands smiling, though he has a nervous twitch. Oh God. It's apparent in Jenna's camera work as well, because her shot now has a constant tremble. The device is no longer mounted, judging by the shakiness of the video.
Wonder if they're like
Dude.
shook up, like they're like either scared, like they were like scared, or is something, getting control of them.
I think they're losing it. I think whatever they saw or got near got in their heads, and they're just like starting to lose maybe who they are.
Yeah, because how do you go from running away from something for your life, basically, to them, from what it sounded like, to let's play dress up?
Also, if he wants subscribers, what he caught on camera is like the best thing to post.
Dude, like that's a thumbnail right there.
That is a thumbnail. All the like black worms coming out of the ceiling.
But you gotta be sure to like put a point. Gotta like point to the camera.
You have to.
Yeah. You gotta do the scream.
You have to do the scream face. Yeah.
So this is what they said. This is what they said when the video picks up. Hey guys,
Mike says after taking a deep breath.
Well, you're never going to believe what happened to us if we get out of this. We will.
Jenna replies, though there's no confidence in her voice.
Oh, I made her sound confident. We will.
Jenna replies, though there's no confidence in her voice.
Right. Right. Um, it'll be better if we just show you.
He gestures to a mirror in the dressing room, and Jenna walks up to it to show herself in the reflection. She now looks sharp in a bold red blazer and capri pants, and her hair is fancifully styled up in a way that would take hours to achieve. But it's the camera itself that's even stranger. Holding it with two nervous hands, she brings it close to the mirror, and it's no longer a GoPro. It's not even a digital device anymore. It's somehow a classic Polaroid, one of those old instant cameras.
Yeah, weird, right? Oh, I wonder if like they're not actually like because it says they're in 80s clothes and now their camera. So what if their clothes are like 80s fashion and now like their camera has turned like to something older too?
Wait, did it like take them back in
Like
time
take them
to
back
whenever
in
the mall,
time. Yeah, wait.
to whenever the mall was like really like big and popping?
Ooh.
Okay,
Ooh.
I have a theory. This could be basically like there's a demon maybe infesting the mall. It's inside of the mall, or there was a cult that operated during that time that invited a demon, and this demon loved the time that all these humans were there for whatever reason, and it was really popping off. Now that there's no one in there, it's basically making these people into what it desires. I don't know. That's just a little theory I got.
Yeah. I definitely don't know for sure, but I want to keep reading. Yeah, weird, right?
Mike continues.
It doesn't have a screen on the back anymore, but it has buttons and all of the on-screen info is inside the viewfinder. I don't know why or how, but our clothes have changed too. It's like, I don't even know how to say it. Oh man, we're definitely gonna get millions of views, baby. We're gonna be on talk shows and scientists will want to... Mike, can we please just get out of here? It's too confining. All right, yeah, let's just keep showing them.
The two leave the dressing room and step out into a fully lit, packed Dillard's department store, just like the one Sleepy Pines used to have. But I hadn't seen one so busy in many years. And as Mike and Jenna kept pretty quiet and give a tour of the place, I steadily realized why it seemed so off. Like their clothes, those of all the shoppers and the staff, and those waiting to be worn on the racks and shelves. Everything is dated. It's all fashion from around 30 years ago. Mike at one point even grabs a polo shirt and, with a stupid smile on his face, brings its price tag right up to the camera, remarking about how it's so cheap.
Do you get it yet?
He asks the viewer.
I mean, it should be obvious what happened to us, right? We don't believe it ourselves at first, but... Oh, sorry, man.
He tells an older shopper he bumped into, who only responds by turning around and giving Mike a curious look.
Come on, let's see the mall. We haven't left this store yet. Need some time to get over to Shock first. I wish we had gotten some of that recorded. Jenna was crying, all hysterical. Mike?
She replies disdainfully.
You're taking all this way too lightly. Have you not been terrified of what's happened to us?
He frowns and admits.
A part of me is, baby. But we can't explore this place while only being scared and worried. We can at least get it all on record in case something happens to us and the camera gets found. Don't say shit like that, Mike. None of this is normal. Hey, come on. I'm right here. I'm with you. We'll get out of this.
Jenna begins to cry, and the camera points down at the floor. Mike can be heard saying,
Let's talk.
Just before the clip ends, I directly go to the next one. Okay, so I wasn't completely off.
Yeah, no, you for sure were not.
It just took them to the time. It didn't give them like the outfits and the mental
Yeah.
idea that they were back there.
You thought that it put them back in time, and they thought that they were just a part of the 80s now.
Yeah. Well, kind of. I thought,
yeah. See, I was under the impression that it was all like they knew that they were in the 80s or they weren't in their time zone anymore, and they're like stuck.
Dude, Jenna is reacting very normally while Mike is like being freaking insane.
Well, I think he wants to go like look at the places like when he was a kid and whatever. I think there has to be some type of like something had to happen here that has Mike really excited to go explore this place again. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't seem normal for him to just be like, "Oh, we traveled back in time. Let's go fucking explore."
dude, he's a little too gun ho about it. Let me just say that. With Mike, I feel like he's got Mr. Beast brain a little bit. He's thinking too much about the content.
Yeah, and she's just like, "What the fuck?"
He's like pulling a big old David Dobrik with his girlfriend.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, who's the guy that crashed his car while live streaming? Jack Dorley, and he was like, as they were pulling him out, he's like, "Bro, grab my camera, film them me pulling me out."
Okay, so anyone who doesn't know, Jack Doherty, is that his
Jack
last
Doherty
name?
or something, like the most like hated guy on like the internet besides Neo.
He was live streaming online. He crashes his car and ends up getting out, and his friend is like bleeding.
His
and really
cameraman,
in pain.
that's his friend. Yeah.
And this was a sports car, so it was super expensive. Well, Jack grabs the camera, says, "Give me the camera, start recording, start the camera, start going," and starts recording around him, basically like not even acknowledging the pain that his friend is in, or his friend could have like a life-altering head injury. Anything could have happened, but he's not acknowledging that.
Yeah, no, and he's just like, definitely living it up for the camera. Like, people, like, have we not learned anything from Japan? When it's time to put down the camera, put down the fucking camera.
He's referring to Logan Paul's
problem.
Forest
incident. Forest Japan incident. And
just look that up if you're interested.
If you don't know anything about it, sucks to suck. I'm not explaining it.
Yeah, just Google Logan Paul Forest. Anyways.
File number 12.
It's a few minutes later. The camera is now pointed towards the main thoroughfare of Sleepy Pines, past the Dillard's entrance. The shot lasts for about 30 seconds, during which dozens of shoppers walk by, many of them wordlessly glancing at the camera for a moment. Mike then walks into frame and guides Jenna out into the mall. Through her movements, shows she's still reluctant. I pull myself forward, my chair closer to the monitor, and watch intently. I hear something familiar and nostalgic come through on my headphones. I turn on the noise canceling so I can feel even more engrossed by what I'm experiencing. Mike doesn't even know what to say about the enormity of this situation as they approach their exit. I hadn't given myself time to process the previous clip, or how the look of the store could have been pulled off through some elaborate set dressing. The obvious but incredible answer to all of this still had to feel like a valid thought in my head.
Dude, this is a big budget for a 6 subscriber video.
I know. There's going to be no people calling out that this is fake in the comments. None. Mike isn't the only one startled when a large woman suddenly enters the frame. 1 second, it felt like we had been exploring uncharted territory together. And the next, there's a big lady in a paint suit threatening to spray him with a bottle of amber-colored perfume in a crystal bottle.
"I told you, we don't need any samples, lady."
Mike snaps at her.
"Jesus." "Oh, but this is one of our new false scents. There's nothing like it in the market yet. Just one whiff, and you two will fall in love all over again." She
seems aggressive, but she keeps trying to spray Jenna and Mike as they shove their way past her. For about a second, her unsettling toothy smile fills the frame as the camera itself nearly smacks into her.
"What the hell is her problem?"
Jenna asks once they're in the safety of the mall.
"They could be like that."
Mike sighs and looks up at the skylights.
"Just maybe not as bad. From what I remember, crazy bitch. You okay? She didn't spray you, right? Michael, what is this place?"
Jenna asks and points the camera at the ceiling, revealing the blue sky beyond the horizontal panes. The camera settles back on Mike, and for several seconds he grins in a way that's almost as unsettling as the perfume lady's smile. I can hear the tiny, echoing music better as Jenna waits for her boyfriend to say something. It's genuine, traditional music. Muzak.
Muzak.
Muzak. I don't know what that is. What does muzak mean? One
I have
sec.
no idea.
I want to know what this means.
Traditional Muzak.
Oh, okay. So for anyone who doesn't know, muzak is apparently an American brand of background music played in retail stores and public establishments. So it's basically like the that background music, like elevator music maybe.
Oh, okay.
And from what I know about background music in stores is it's made specifically to keep you walking around and moving. So it has an upbeat, energetic feel to it to keep you shopping.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but anyways, that's a little aside. It's genuine, traditional music. Those light, co-opted renditions of pop music that went out of style years ago that's barely heard anywhere anymore. Somehow unfittingly, as Mike grins like an idiot, Toto's Africa fills the air.
Can I take a look? Drag me away from you. Are you really going to make me say it?
Mike asks.
There has to be some other explanation. This can't be real. Babe, we're in the past. He's like mansplaining it to her. Listen, lady, we're in the past.
Listen.
If I was running the channel, we'd already have 10. But you want to have your name in the channel name, so now we're only at 6. So let me explain it to you. We're in the past. P-A-S-T. Okay. Babe, we're in the past. We found some sort of time traveling device, I'm telling you.
He turns about and soaks in the mall, adding,
My guess, 1990, maybe 91. All of those 1980s styles that were on the way out, and everything is so colorful. I'm talking post-Cold War chick, Jen. Then why did our clothes change? Why did the camera change? Where did our phones go? We need to make sure there's a way out or a way to go back before we start trying to have fun. I don't want to be trapped here. We are not here to have fun. We're here to make history, maybe even be a part of history. We're filming the past, babe. We'll document everything that we see, and then we'll find a weird thing again and figure out how to get us back to 2013. But we can stay here a while, right? I mean, this decade is so much better than the one that we came from with all of social media and shit and dumbass challenges. I wish you wouldn't say that. Our friends and family are there. Michael, our future together. We can't stay.
Mike sighs. He doesn't want another argument. He wants to explore what he thinks is the past, some small piece of his own childhood. The shot lasts another few seconds on his impatient face before the camera pans down. I get a look at Jenna's shoes to see they've turned into a pair of red high tops.
I love that, like, as she's getting more serious, like, it's now his name now changed to Michael instead of Mike.
It reminds me of whenever my mom would pull out the middle name.
Oh yeah. Well, for my name, because like I don't think really many people call you Tay, but like a lot of people call me John. But like if they're serious, it's like Jonathan. It's like,
yeah,
oh shit.
Except for me, I feel like I'm the only person.
Yeah, you never really called me John.
I feel like I only refer to you as Jonathan
or Tyler.
Or I accidentally call you the other co-host's name, Tyler, and I've known both of you all my life.
Right, exactly. But yeah, no. So clearly she's, and I'm wondering if like, I don't know. He's really excited about this. Like, I could definitely see this.
Excited.
A little too excited. Yeah, I could definitely see this if it was like Logan or Jake Paul just here. Yeah. It's like, yo, what the fuck? We're in the 90s.
Well, and she obviously cares about her family and is like, dude, why?
Right.
Like, I mean, for me, I would like miss all the people back home, but like,
dude,
he's got.
Wait. So imagine if they did have to stay, right? Imagine if they were that. So what if they went to go like, would they still be alive like during their time of being alive? Because like, I don't know how old they are exactly. I think he said like the 30s, right? So they would have been just kind of born like Are they babies somewhere else while they're just walking around here in the 80s or in the 90s?
That's an interesting point. And also, I think about it to where are they going to now have to stay in the mall? Can they leave the mall? Like, are they
Uh,
like physically, like even in this time, this era?
well, I feel
Um,
we're definitely not over whatever entity like brought them here or like why they are here. But I feel like them being in the past, I feel like they're gonna find a reason why they are here.
well, and it's a cool entity in and of itself because the entity isn't even like really a thing. It was black worms and this worm carved object.
Well, I'm
But
I'm
other
more
than
worried about
that,
like the totem they found.
it's
Like,
basically just a totem, and it's playing with time, and it's not actually attacking them
right,
except for transporting them. Like,
right.
and it's using time, which I don't think many stories do all that
Hmm.
often, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. All right. File number 13.
This clip goes on for over 10 minutes, and it's a proper mall tour. Jenna quietly films every store they pass without argument, while Mike tries to provide some commentary, but he's often distracted, overwhelmed by the amazement every time he looks into a shop, or sees a person walk by in nostalgic clothing, or finds a treasured piece of media from the era. He forces Jenna to spend several minutes just in Sam Goody, so she can get every audio cassette, early CD, or videotape and at least a few frames of video. All the while, Mike is overly excited and Jenna seems wary of the crowds. The shoppers almost approach an uncanny valley. They look like regular people, but they act like emotional automations, staring vapidly at the two like they're intruders in their home. She notices them as I do, but Mike hardly seems to consider whether or not something is off with everyone other than himself and his girlfriend.
Mm.
He's under the effects of a siren call brought about by his love for the romanticized past.
Yeah, ooh, I don't like the people. Now that now
It's
that now that something's off with the
give
people,
yeah.
it's yikes.
It's giving off the SCP IKEA thing. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's like where the people are also an amalgamation of this like horrific
Mm-hmm.
entity. And so in this, I think that this isn't none of this is real. I'm wondering if they're like legitimately passed out in real time, and this is like happening
Right.
under like a spell.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. They pass by a brightly lit hair salon with colorful geometric shapes on the walls and a checkerboard floor. The three women seated inside are all getting the exact same hairstyle. The small movie theater's marquee lists are now playing Total Recall, Gremlins 3, Terminator 2, City Slickers, The Rocketeer, and, ironically, Back to the Future Part 3.
Mm.
We see more mall store staples, many of which no longer exist anywhere. A KB Toys, a Walden Books, a merry-go-round filled with clothes for teenagers. I recognize most of the places, and sure, I miss seeing them, if I think about it, but they all had their time, and I didn't worship the past like Mike seems to. While it's certainly interesting to see all these old stores in their modern high definition, dead pixels aside, I find myself just hoping the two make it out. Sleepy Pines looks very different overall. It has big blue, red, and yellow painted lines running along its wall. Neon lights cast their glow on the indoor trees and lounge areas full of boxy chairs and couches. Coin operated rides sit out front of the arcade. For the kids too young to venture in and play the cabinets that bright and noisy pixelated games inhabit. I can empathize with Mike, being a kid during this snapshot in time, wanting to go back and feel something genuine again if he believes the present is shallow and hopeless. But that idealism isn't going to find either of these young adults a way out. All the while, the calm cheerfulness of the mall music undercuts the rising dread I begin to feel about a situation I'm helpless to change.
Wow.
You had to go with the Owen Wilson wow.
Wow. It just says wow.
Honestly, that's what Mike's freaking shifting into. Is he's shifting into this fucking like
he just turns to Jenna. He's like, I want a hot dog real bad.
His face morphs from the small child face to Owen Wilson on a child.
Wow. You like cars? Would you look at that?
Hit the wow again.
All right. Wow.
Mike says wistfully as they reach the Sears at the other end of the mall.
It's great, Jen. Well, what an experience. You got that, right? Yes. Now can we go back to the lost and found? We need to find that thing to send us back home. I wonder if the younger me will show up if we wait around. Baby, I don't think that you appreciate all of this enough. How often do you get to take your girlfriend to the freaking past and show them some place that meant so much to you?
After waiting for a response from her that doesn't come, he sighs, nods, and says,
All right, let's get a good shot of Muriel on the way back.
They head for the mall atrium, where Jenna lets the mural fill the frame. It's incomplete and even creepier for it. 2/3 of the forest segment is done, but the 5 figures standing in front of it have yet to be painted and are just a solid ghostly white. I didn't know that the whole thing wasn't finished all at once. It suggests that there might be something to my idea that the poorly drawn pioneers and natives were added by a second artist, maybe even just as an excuse to cover something up on the original background.
Just heard someone honking.
Yeah, that's right outside my door.
Dude, Mike definitely peaked in high school.
For sure. For sure, dude. Dude, what a jerk. I didn't want to say it because we were in the middle of all that, but like he is really like
either that or something traumatic happened to him and his happy place is like going back to that time of like going to that mall when he was a kid and stuff.
I know you're hanging on to that. I feel you're giving him too much credit.
I know. And that's one thing about me. I give a lot of people the benefit of the doubt. I try to think, okay, why are they thinking like that? So
he just sounds like a jerk.
No, he for sure does. Again, either he peaked in high school or it's that. And I'm kind of leaning more towards he's an asshole.
Yeah, that's what it's seeming like.
Yeah. That's weird as hell.
Mike says as he looks at the artwork.
We must have been brought back to one of the few days when the mural was still being made.
Jenna grumbles and starts to pressure him to focus on getting themselves home, but is interrupted when mall security comes over and reminds the pair that they can't just shoot pictures of the wall without permission, unaware that their mutated camera is actually filming video.
Sure, no problem.
Mike is heard saying after the camera goes to Jenna's side and is pointed at the floor.
Hey, can we check your lost and found? We think we left something behind when we last...
The clip ends as abruptly as I've come to expect. I keep on forgetting to mention, because I keep on thinking about it as I'm reading, but then whenever we're talking, I forget to talk about it. But the fact that their Polaroid camera is the old video camera, so it's just mutated, it's pretty cool.
I know a lot about Lady Gaga. What the fuck does she know about cameras? I've listened to a lot of Lady Gaga songs.
Little did the people of this era know that Lady Gaga would own Polaroid.
Oh, man. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
File 14.
The next file was created 4 hours later. I'm seriously concerned about what might have happened in the time between before I opened it. Mike and Jenna are staring at the camera together. They're back in one of the Dillard's changing rooms, where they might feel safe. The lights flicker above them, and they both look noticeably stressed.
Hey, guys.
Mike tries to find the words and wraps an arm around Jenna's shoulder.
So here's the part where we want to tell you that things are not looking good for us. I still don't know how or why we're in the past, and we can't find the thing that brought us here. We've looked all over the place, every store, every back room, every staff room that you could think of, and it feels like we're trying to sneak around, you know? The people are always looking at us, and I don't think any of them have left either. They're all the same shoppers that were here when we arrived. Something is wrong with this place. I should have seen it earlier, but I was too busy being stupid about everything. The doors are all locked.
Jenna adds tearfully as she seems to come to terms with their situation.
We've tried all of them, and they won't budge. We picked up one of the payphones, but there's not even a dial tone. We're going to tear this place apart if we have to. We're finding that thing, whatever it is, but just in case we don't make it out, and you find this video, please call my parents. Their home number is... Mike, shh.
Jenna suddenly shushes him. She points towards the edge of the frame, and Mike turns the camera around to show the gap at the bottom of the changing room door. After several seconds, a pair of large feet scuffle into high-heeled steps into the space. They turn towards the door, and it rattles violently. Jenna can be heard suppressing a scream. The door keeps shaking for about a full minute before the assault on it finally ends. Without saying a thing, the large woman on the other side walks off.
Ooh.
As upset as she is, Jenna picks up the camera again, nearly dropping it as she films Mike cracking the door open looking around. He gestures for her to come out, and they make an exit from the store by sneaking behind clothes racks and keeping quiet. The other shoppers look at them again, but don't bother them. Just before they can leave, Mike gets a shot of the perfume lady standing near the store entrance. I recognize the shoes and realize she must be stalking the pair at this point. Without warning, she turns towards them, and they duck behind a display table full of polo shirts. I pause on a frame of her face and see how hideous she has become. Her bulbous face is covered in bright pink lipstick, sky blue eyeshadow, and bright pink blush. But it all does nothing to help with the fact that she has greasy, disheveled hair and yellow, crooked teeth.
Ooh.
After a few seconds, the camera pops back up. The perfume lady is gone.
Where is she?
Jenna whispers.
I don't know. We have to get out of the store. We should have never came back here. We knew the door would be locked, just like the others. Mike, we have to...
Jenna is cut off by the sound of rustling fabric. She and Mike both flip around to see the perfume lady staring right at them from the top of the clothes racks. She's slumped over by some of those old chrome bars, her blob-like arms dangling down like she's an obese sloth with a murderous glint in its eye. She curls her lips into a demented grin and holds up the perfume bottle seemingly glued to one of her hands. Mike and Jenna quickly work up the nerve to get to their feet and make a run for the store entrance. Judging by the sound coming from behind them, their pursuer knocks over the entire rack and crashes into more displays as she gives chase. There are explicatives, terror, and panic in Jenna's voice as she and Mike dash towards the mall. She briefly turns to the camera back to capture the crazed lady on film. She's become animalistic, running on all fours with eyes as black as a shark.
Oh, shit.
Jenna lets out a shriek as the feral beast gains on them.
Dude, hang on. She's already doing better than the girl from Blair Witch. Getting a shot.
So much better. These people are not tripping either.
She's like, holy shit, and then running. Like it's like Outlast running where you can look behind you while full sprinting.
Dude, Mike's like, get the action shot, babe. Get it.
He's like, that's why you got the camera, babe. Holy shit.
We're going to get at least 100 subs.
Dude, triple digits, here we come.
He's slowly turning into Trump now. We're going to get all the subs.
It's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge. But the perfume lady stops right at the boundary of the store, as if there's an invisible barrier she can't pass. After catch his breath, Mike flips her off, and the woman simply regains her composure, getting back on two legs and returning to the cosmetic department, that grin never leaving her face.
What the hell, Mike? She's not human. No person acts like that.
Jenna shouts at him.
We need to get out of this place right goddamn now. I know, Jen, I know. At least she can't leave the store. Shit.
Mike tries to calm himself down as the shoppers stare at him, most of them now just standing around as if they're NPCs who have run out of walk cycles. He points the camera up at the skylight, revealing that it's dusk. The neon lights of the wall now determine the colors, splashing everything in hues of red, purple, pinks, and blues. I can also hear that the music has turned down and become more distorted, like a talking electronic toy with low batteries. The audio seems to unnerve Mike, who closes his eyes to think, but can't get comfortable enough to do so.
It's like this place is starting to fall apart.
He mutters out of the same thought that had just crossed my mind.
Jen, we need to find something heavy. Hammers, crowbars, maybe just a trash can. We'll smash our way out.
He proceeds to shove his way past the crowd size of zombie onlookers, yelling at them to get out of his way all the while. Jenna follows at a distance, getting a face full of their staring eyes on the way. They briefly stop near a display of a red 1990s Corvette, where a nearby small film crew seems to be trying to make a commercial. Hot lamps hit the sweating face of an older man in a gray suit. He repeats the line,
"A lot is happening at Sleepy Pine Malls. Why not come see what's new today?"
several times as Jenna also films the scene. Mike then loses his patience and enters the shot, but the attempt at making a commercial continues.
"You've been here for hours."
Mike tells the crew angrily.
"Who are you people? How did you get in here? What ad agency do you work for?" Michael, stop.
Jenna quietly pleads.
"Don't antagonize him. They're not even real. They're mindless, running like some kind of script."
With no concern for consequences, Mike knocks over the light and the expensive film camera and then steals the tripod. Jenna doesn't know what to make of it, and she just stands in place in shock while Mike walks away with the bulky piece of equipment. And actually, Mike seems to have a point, because the actor simply keeps repeating the same segment of the commercial several more times, with the crew watching and going through the motions. The camera pans down to the floor and the clip ends. Oh, that's been the best file.
Dude, holy shit. Dude, the fucking perfume lady.
She's terrifying.
So when they were in the dressing room and they were cut off by the dressing lady or the perfume lady, I thought that down at the bottom, I thought they saw her like looking in like with one eye. That's exactly what I thought was happening. That's why I was like, oh shit.
Dude, she's terrifying, and this is really like operating like a video game where people can't. It seems like everybody's an NPC or a like aggro NPC-esque kind of thing, and they have barriers they can't enter and leave.
Right. It seems like well, first off, and also the lady chasing them on all fours, that in itself is like, holy shit.
And her eyes turning black.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. And like, yeah, the way they just described her, like, that was a really good job.
No, that was really good. And then also Mike needs to get a hold of himself. He has been like not maintaining himself throughout this entire story. First he's excited. Now listen, Jenna is the only one who is maintaining any sense of like sanity throughout all of this, because she's like at the beginning obviously like, what the heck is happening? And now she's just trying to like pull him off a ledge, and I feel like he's not managing his emotions at all. He's just allowing whatever comes to him to.
Oh my god. Yeah, no. Oh my god. It's just insane that, I don't know. But I think as we were reading this too, like, I'll say this and then we'll get into the 15. As I was reading it too, I was kind of like thinking, I'm like, so right now they have a Polaroid, and it was a GoPro turned into a Polaroid, but it turns back into a GoPro. So does that mean they made it back, or did it, like, as time went on, it just progressively like went to like whatever the new hottest camera was at the time?
Yeah, well, everything in the store seems to be screwing up. We hear the music getting very distorted.
That in itself made me kind of uncomfortable when they were like, it's like a broken toy with low batteries.
Yeah.
Like having that distort, like, ooh, that I didn't like that.
So the music's screwing up. The people, the NPCs, are messing up their patterns. I believe that this simulation is breaking down. The camera is now turning into the GoPro and back into the Polaroid. I think this is a part of the simulation getting screwed up.
Yeah, I definitely do feel too that my first thought was, are they stuck in not like stuck in the 80s, but like they're like or like in the 90s. If they are in the 90s, I wonder if they're stuck in like one certain part of the 90s. So that's why people are acting weird and seeing the same people, because they're only in that one time when everything was, you know, like at that point. So like the guy rehearsing his thing over and over again, or recording that commercial over and over again, like they're stuck at that time he was actually recording that or something. I don't know. Or it could be
That's
like a
really
simulation
good
breaking.
point.
I
It's
don't
almost
know.
like a snapshot in time.
Right, exactly. Yeah, file 15 is not that long, so it's only 2 paragraphs, so let's get into it. Number 15. Burger King foot lettuce. Number 15.
It starts with Mike midway through another swing of the tripod against the glass door. He's been at it for a while, based on his apparent exhaustion. He lands a heavy, metallic tripod plate against the glass several times, but he has yet to crack it. The glass doesn't seem to have any give to it. He might as well be hitting a brick wall. The vintage cars and trucks in the parking lot outside seem real, but I'm not sure. There are no people outside in the darkness, yet the couple are trapped in the mall, with hundreds of them. So everything beyond the walls may not even have reason to exist. Whatever time travel trickery is going on, it likely can't extend past the building in which it was triggered. Jenna can be heard quietly sobbing. She pans to a trash can on the floor, knocked over, and gives it a kick, giving me the impression that she had used it to join in on the effort before she gave up and started filming again. I also noticed that the music is almost completely gone, replaced by a monotone buzzing noise. Mike hits the door 12 times in all, working up a sweat and eventually hopelessly collapsing to the floor.
You know what that
The
buzzing...
recording. Sorry.
I'm sorry. You know what that buzzing sound reminds me of?
What?
The Backrooms.
Oh,
That, like...
they've slipped. They've no clipped out of reality.
They've no clipped out of reality.
To finish this file, it ends with the recording of his effort then ends.
I really I don't know. So yeah, that monotone buzzing sound, like, you know, like the light sounds that like the Backrooms has, like that, like,
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. That's
no,
exactly
me
what I
too.
was thinking.
Me
But
too.
like,
Me too.
I don't want every explanation to be like Backrooms.
Well, I don't think so, because I haven't had any backrooms like thoughts in my head till that buzzing was mentioned.
Till that buzzing noise, yeah.
Yeah.
But also,
I've been thinking a lot of SCP stuff, honestly.
that's what I was thinking too. I was like, I don't want to think like SCP, but like, I'm thinking SCP.
I'm thinking SCP. SCP and backrooms aren't that different as well.
I don't know how far in are we, bro. Like from where it's scrolled down to, it looks like we're like almost halfway, or we are halfway.
We're actually a little bit more than halfway.
Oh, okay. Are we? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. File number 16.
The camera sits on a table in the food court. It's getting late, but it looks like all the places are still open. The pair have cups of soda and slices of pizza on paper plates in front of them, but they both look hesitant to eat. It isn't that they're only losing hope of escape. They're also afraid of the food. I can't blame them. They're also mostly in shadow, now lit only by the neon lights.
Are we really going to eat this?
Mike asks listlessly.
I mean, who knows what it's made of?
Jenna murmurs back.
We have to eat something. We're starving.
Mike looks into the camera and says tiredly,
Yeah, so? The clock here says it's 2 in the morning, and things just keep going on. It's a 24/7 mall now, I guess. We couldn't last much longer without eating or drinking something. If this is what ends us, at least, you know, it wasn't the perfume lady.
In one of the few acts of bravery I've seen Mike exhibit across the videos, he takes a sip from the cup before Jenna, slowly at first, before gulping it down thirstily. She then does the exact same with her drink, and they soon look a little more confident about trying something solid next.
Well, it tastes like Dr. Pepper.
Mike.
Of course you would like fucking Dr. Pepper.
The only good thing Mike's ever
Mike.
done. The only good thing Mike's ever done is drink that thing first, and it's Dr. Pepper.
Ugh.
That's disgusting.
He's like, it's fine, babe. It actually tastes really good. She drinks it. It's fucking Dr. Pepper.
And he goes, I know, we're so lucky. Oh man.
All right. Yeah, it tastes like Dr. Pepper.
Mike says and examines his pizza.
And it looks authentic enough, even though I don't think much of anything is real in this place. Okay, before it gets cold.
He takes a bite, chews, and eventually swallows. Deciding it tastes edible enough and is worth the risk, he quickly gobbles up the rest, while Jenna remains more reluctant and takes her time with her food.
It's too dark in here,
she says, looking around.
All of the ceiling lights shutting off hours ago, but the people didn't even seem to notice. We'll try to get some sleep in the arcade.
Mike tells her.
All of the games are still running. I think that's the most light we'll get. What's going to happen to this place? Maybe eventually the dream ends and we'll wake up. Even the guy at the Sabaro didn't speak or ask us for any money. Yeah.
Mike then deadpans a joke.
No wonder the chain is dying off.
When did Sabaro die off? Do you know anything
I don't
about
even know what Sabaro is.
Sabaro is pizza, I believe.
Yeah, they're eating pizza.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
They went off because they sold fucking Dr. Pepper.
This file ends with, they sit, drink, and eat quietly for another minute before the video ends. And that is file 16.
That is file 16.
It seems like they're both in pretty broken spirits. For some reason, the idea of the outside area, like beyond the mall, which is already a liminal space, but the outside is even freakier because it has the cars, but there's nobody there. And it's almost like this is a dead mall, but that's a dead, like, earth.
Yeah. My biggest thing is, the food, like there being solid food. Like, obviously, I'm very grateful that there is, but it kind of also has me concerned on how.
You think it might have, like, issue with it?
I don't think so. I don't think they will have issues, but, like, it's more of like whatever is trying to keep us here is not trying to, like, kill us. Like, it clearly has it to where there's food, like, for survival.
I hope it doesn't go this route, but I hope it doesn't turn them into one of the NPCs because, I mean, I don't like that, but that's where it could go.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Cool.
Number 17.
This one takes place entirely inside the mall's old arcade, which closed in 1998. The only sources of light are the flickering cabinet screens of the games on their demonstration modes. But there are so many that the place remains the brightest locale of the mall at this point. Mike holds the camera this time, but I don't know what he's trying to achieve, other than the miserable conditions the two have found themselves in. He makes a few rounds around the arcade cabinets, muttering incoherently to himself. Kids and teenagers fill up the large room with a carpet featuring planets and stars, but none of them move. Some have their hands on joysticks or buttons. Others just stand and stare with their arms at their sides. Mike tries to elicit a response from one of the kids, getting the lens right up in their face. Their eyes are glazed over, looking straight ahead as the lights of a fighting game reflect off their large pupils. They're just as catatonic as everyone else. Mike throws a swear at him before Actually, say a cuss word. Yeah, Mike throws a swear at him.
Bitch!
Before going over to the prize counter and getting a shot of all the toys he'll never be able to claim. Nice.
You say he throws a spear at him. I'm like, Jesus! What'd he do?
Yeah.
My eyes widened. I was like, Yeah. I don't think we're reading the same story.
Yeah.
All right. I went to a good university.
He tells his audience of one and turns the camera on himself so he can speak angrily directly into it.
I had a good job lined up, and I like the 1980s and 90s. So what? Doesn't mean I want to be stuck in the shitty, bizarro version of nostalgia. I never want to visit this mall again. And the camera battery, it should have died a long time ago, but the icon says it's still full. Nothing is right. It's all wrong, and we're never gonna get out of here.
Still filming, he goes over to one of those large cabinets that you can sit down inside of for some privacy and immersion. It's an old racing game with a steering wheel, and Jenna is curled up on the seat, facing the wall, sleeping or trying to. As this file was created 5 hours after the previous, I get the feeling that Mike couldn't sleep or gave up trying. He decides to let Jenna be and slumps down onto the carpet. Several cabinet screens are in frame, and the kids in front of them now lifeless silhouettes. Mike can be heard getting emotional for a few minutes over the noises of the games. Suddenly he hears a loud metal clang outside, echoing down the mall's corridor. He jolts up, points the camera at the darkness outside that only the neon lights can penetrate. His breathing is shallow and rapid. Nothing shows up, at least that he can see. But he still ends up running into a small utility closet without alerting his girlfriend to the possible danger, and closes the door. Following another few seconds of pure black image filled with digital noise and dead pixels, the video ends. I assume he eventually fell asleep in that cramped space, and that the experience was beginning to wear on his sanity by this point.
That fucking prick.
He's like becoming a terrible character.
You like leaving his own girlfriend. What the fuck?
Let's do file 18.
File number 18.
The camera is aimed up at one of the skylights, where early morning light is coming through. It's possibly about 8 a.m. or so, meaning Mike and Jenna are nearing 24 hours spent in the mall. Mike pans down to show the mural and the fountain in front of it, where Jenna scoops up a handful of water and washes her face. Around her are the mindless shoppers. All of them are idle, despite the fact that the place seems to have never opened or closed. This version of Sleepy Pines, whether it existed in the past or not, just is. I've come to realize that it represents the memory of a mall, when people are there to remember it. Times where it is empty and dormant don't factor into this corrupt amalgam of the golden days of service. The speakers are still pushing out some sort of noise, but all I can hear are atonal crackles. Mike approaches Jenna, leaning forward and staring at her reflection in the fountain. She looks at him and draws near, now looking incapable of ever smiling again. I still worry about Mike's mental state, but she doesn't seem afraid of him. She's just tired, or starting to resign herself to their imprisonment.
Jen, are you hungry?
Mike asks flatly.
The Cinnabon still seems to be running. I could get you something.
She shakes her head and replies,
Mike, we need to find a way out today. Whatever it takes. We can't give up. We just can't. I know. We'll try something else. Maybe the air vents?
Jenna looks like she's about to say something, but instead goes back to looking into the fountain. After several seconds, she takes an inquisitive expression and leans forward. She stays in frame, but I get the impression that Mike's actually looking elsewhere while the camera remains pointing at her. Jenna takes out one of the coins from the fountain and studies it. I can barely hear her mumble.
Michael, look at this.
Michael doesn't hear her and shouts,
Jenna, run!
The camera swings around. I see the
Oh shit.
Fuck. I see the perfume lady aggressively approaching at a fast and unstoppable walking pace, the Dillards far behind her. It's the first time we've seen her leave the invisible boundary of the department store, and Mike and Jenna seem shocked about this as well. The large woman still has a perfume bottle in one hand, but there's no telling what she really wants. Not ready to find out, the couple start running. Dude, that perfume lady.
No, she is on to something.
She's terrible.
She's like she's like the only other one that's not like in the simulation. She's like, I have nothing else to do. I just fucking gotta sell you perfume.
You need the perfume.
She's like, I'm gonna get fired.
I need the cells and none of them are buying it. They just stare at the screens and the walls.
While we're at it, would you like to join our rewards program?
I definitely don't get a commission every time someone joins.
File number 19.
An hour after the previous video ended, Jenna gets the camera going again to show Mike crouching down between some washing machines and peeking around the corner of one of the big white cubes. They're somewhere in the Sears store.
I think we finally lost her.
Mike sighs and slumps against the machine.
Crazy bitch. Why is she the only one still moving around?
He shakes his head and looks up to see that the camera is recording.
Mike,
Jenna says quietly.
There might be a way out or something.
He grumbles back.
What are you talking about? Don't get your hopes up, but I found it. Here, just look.
She hands him a quarter, and he checks both sides of it. He looks at Jenna like she's crazy at first, but then realizes why she sees it as important.
It's got a state art on the tail side. It didn't start until 2000. Yeah, it's from 2005. I don't think the fountain was affected by any of this. Something to do with the water, maybe. It doesn't make any sense. None of this does, but maybe there's something that we could do with the water. Whatever took us to this bizarre version of the past, maybe the water's the answer, a way out.
Mike frowns.
So what? We just jump into the fountain, hold our breaths, and hope for the best? Or do you want to open up all the faucets in the mall and flood it? How does this big revelation help us? We have to keep trying, Michael, and we need to talk. We need to understand what is happening to us and what this place really is and why we are here. I don't think we're really in the past. And didn't you notice how earlier it got dark yesterday? There aren't any holiday decorations here, and all the fake people are dressed up like it's summer. But the day didn't last any longer than it did before. I mean, yeah, I guess. I think that device somehow recreated local history by altering all the nearby material, but it isn't perfect, and it can't sustain it for long. It's not stable, and it's breaking down, and we're running out of time. That's insane. Have any better theories? Do you think we actually went to the past?
Mike takes a rather vapid expression as he thinks for a few moments before replying.
Then what's the deal with the perfume lady? I don't know. Maybe she's guarding the place. Maybe she's the thing keeping us here. She's hunting us. She's a threat. So I say, let's just try and kill her. How?
Hell yeah.
Damn, like they did right into it. Like not even the sanity didn't even like crawl in. Like it's been a day. Like they're not even starving, nothing. They're just like,
yeah, no, they have food.
Kill her.
Things are weird. I mean, I will say, if you're gonna go after anyone, go after the perfume lady first.
Well, I mean, she was running on all fours earlier with black eyes. Like,
actually, yeah, no, I'm
that.
totally down with killing her first.
Yeah. How?
He asks, and rather stupidly, in my opinion.
Yeah, even our narrator hates fucking Mike.
Dude, our narrator hasn't liked Mike from day one, from file one.
Mm-hmm. We could start by trying. Why don't we bash her over the head and see what happens? She's not real, Mike. None of those people are real. All right, yeah, fine. We'll smash her head in and see what comes out.
Damn. Ugh.
Damn.
He tries to act tough for his girlfriend, but he can't back it up. After he agrees to commit some form of homicide, the two hear a noise, and he panics just as much as she does when they see the silhouette of the perfume lady against the light of the Sears exit to the parking lot. I'm not sure whether she was just standing there looking menacing or started chasing them again. The clip ends just as the couple started running.
Damn.
Dude, okay, so now they're planning to fight back.
We're just fighting back.
I like it.
I mean,
dude,
good for them. Yeah, like good like fight or flight moment because like we can't just run forever, you know. Like we have to.
No, 100%. I mean, I think I would have started trying to figure out how to kill that old lady sooner than that.
But I definitely think that I don't know because so the fountain is so they think that water is like a weakness. And I don't know. I feel like there's something that still has to do with the mural, because there's no way that they taught this much about the painting and everything without it having to do with something. Like
Yeah,
maybe it has like context clues of why, like how to get out or why they're there in the first place.
I wonder if the painting is almost like a symbolism for them where they're trapped. It's like you look at everything and there's trees in the painting, yet monsters lie within them. And I wonder if that's a metaphor for what they're experiencing, is that everything around them is seemingly supposed to be this real, okay thing, yet there's monsters trapped beyond all of these creatures and
Right.
whatnot. And then also, so the fountain we figured out is this safe place that they could. The coins haven't switched time, so technically, all of the everything in the fountain is still from that era. So that
Hmm.
might be a way back.
Yeah, and then that's honestly one of my biggest things. So obviously the fountain has some type of use in it. The mural has to come back at some point, and whatever the entity is that is keeping them there, it has something to do. It like electrically, like it like fiddles with the camera. Like
Yeah.
it's doing so. It doesn't. I don't know. It's just there's a lot of unanswered questions, and we only have 4 more files because we're on 20
I,
and there's 23.
I'm wondering if the prequel and sequel cover these things.
I'm really hoping that, like, obviously, like, I don't need every question answered, but I hope we do get a lot more answers with these last few files. I would love to read the prequel and sequel like another day,
Oh yeah.
or like for another pod. But I definitely think that, like, if you have a lot of unanswered questions and the only way to get those answers is through the like prequel and sequel, I don't like that. Like that's just me though. Like I don't.
Oh, 100%. I think well, okay. I think that the original should be able to stand on its own. I think the prequel doesn't need to stand on its own, and the sequel doesn't either, but the
But
original
but
does.
we do know that these people do go missing, so we do know that they don't make it back,
We do know that. Yeah.
and we know that their channel never. This obviously never. We know that these people, Mike and Jenna, are not gonna make it out.
Yeah, we know also that he's never going to hit more than 6 subscribers.
Dude, if the narrator didn't subscribe after watching this,
Yeah, he's just sitting there
like
and he's like, well,
7
might as well
subs.
dislike.
Dude, I see why they have 6 subs. Fucking ass.
Commentary's trash.
They had a lot of potential though, and it's like they seem promising, and it's like, shut up. All right. Let's continue. File number 20.
With only 4 files left to view, I know that Mike and Jenna's journey is coming to an end. This one opens with Mike holding the camera at it himself, and behind him are boxes of shoes. He's at a Payless or a Foot Locker. He has his free arm wrapped around the camera tripod from earlier, which rests against his arm. He must consider it his best weapon he could find.
We think it's been over 24 hours since this all started.
He tells me.
We're prepared to take on the perfume bitch now, mentally and physically, but we don't know where she is at the moment. But you gotta see this.
He gets up and goes to the store entrance where Jenna is standing guard and looking into the hall. She's holding a metal bar in one hand, I think taken from a clothes rack, and a fire extinguisher in the other.
Look at them.
She murmurs.
They're getting worse.
Mike gets a little closer to one of the nearby kids, but still keeps a safe distance. Thick black ooze moving as slowly as hot tar is dripping out of the boy's mouth. Smaller streams of the stuff come out of his lifeless eyes. Mike pulls back and pans the camera to reveal that the surrounding adults are suffering from the same affliction. Still, they all do nothing but stand quietly. Jenna walks into frame and says,
This is what I've been talking about, Mike. This place is falling apart. First, it'll be more complex things, like the people. Then the rest of it will follow, the whole building. But not us, right?
Jenna doesn't have an answer, but there is doubt in her eyes. They move away from the store, Jenna ready to snipe. They move away from the store. It's like, dude, it's like everything's falling apart, Mike. Not if I have anything to say about it.
Yeah.
She pulls out a freaking Barrett 50 cal. Anyways, they move away from the store. Jenna ready to strike with her crowbar. Everyone they pass is disintegrating from the inside out, but none of them act aggressively or move in the slightest. Mike points the camera up to the skylights, where a mosaic of black specks is rising and beginning to smother sunlight. As he pans back down, he catches on film one of the shoppers losing their arm. It simply breaks off and falls onto the floor, where it slowly melts into a pool of black liquid. At this point, they're just out of explicatives and just accept it. Even the movie theater's marquee has been corrupted, or is glitching like a crashing computer program. Only 2 legible titles are Casablanca and Gone Girl, neither of which came out anywhere near the supposed emulated time period in which the 2 are trapped. The other spots on the marquee are just jumbles of letters and numbers. A pile of them is building up on the floor by the box office. Mike turns away and focuses on the fountain they're closing in on. The mural behind it has lost all its elements and is now a solid black. Jenna runs over to the fountain and looks down into it. She dips a hand in and then steps in fully, submerging herself to just below her knees.
You really expect something to happen?
Mike asks as he catches up.
You're just getting soaked. Might be hard running in wet, squishy shoes, Jen. Maybe we won't have to run anymore if this is the way out.
She looks down at her feet and mutters,
Come on, do something. What are you hoping will happen? I don't know. Maybe my shoes will change back.
Mike gazes into the fountain, bringing the camera close to its surface. He notices the coins and takes one out to look at the year it was minted.
You were right.
He admits.
You've been putting more thought into this than I have. And I guess it's worth a shot at this point.
He points the camera straight up for about a full minute, leaving a bit of his hair in the frame as clouds of dark particles thicken above him. After he has some time to think his deep thoughts, he swings it back down and gets a shot of Jenna's shoes again. They're still red high tops, and she expresses her disappointment with apparent anguish. I don't know how long she stayed in the fountain, since the video ends a moment later, with Mike trying to be considerate and offering assuring words.
So yeah, they're basically just trying to see if the fountain works, like if it does anything, and clearly Mike doesn't, Mike doesn't want anything to do with his fucking fountain, even though she has proven that it clearly it does something.
Mike is like, if Mike makes a decision, you basically should do the opposite, because he is only incorrect danger and stupidity.
But he did.
I don't like him.
I will say he did go out of his way. Now this is for men in general, this is a hard thing to do. He admitted he was like you are right, and he did it.
I guess he did admit. Jen's been right all along.
Who says character? What do you call it? Not character progression.
He had a character arc.
He had a character arc right then and there.
Yeah. No. Okay. So look, we're rounding him out for him to finally get slayed by the perfume lady.
See, and that wasn't that long of a file. Like that was like, again, we only have 3 now, and we still have a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah.
I want to get to the end of this. I want to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
File number 21.
Over 2 hours later, Mike gives me a shot of the skylight again. Only now, the dark particles are burning away into a thick mist that almost fully obscures the sunlight and moves like boiling water, forming a wriggling cloud all across the top half of Sleepy Pines. The writhing mass reminds me of the worms crawling on the wall from earlier. But it gets worse. The camera sweeps down to the wall of the atrium, where large tiles are breaking loose as black ooze pours out and spreads across the floor. Jenna walks towards the camera, trying hard not to step on the gunk. She stares at Mike for several seconds, then keeps walking past him.
Place has gone to hell.
He mutters into the microphone. He then asks Jenna,
Are we doing another walk? Nothing changed with the doors. The people in the stores are almost gone, but the doors are still solid, Jen. If everything is burning off or melting, then the way out has to emerge. Yeah, maybe, but we've been going back and forth for a few hours. I'm going to the food court to see if there's anything left. Not sure that's a good idea.
He follows her anyway. They cross through a hallway that looks more like a moving, dripping cave system of black magma than anything human hands made. I think it's all being reclaimed by the device that projected a version of the mall that emulates its past, but one that never really existed. They make it to the food court, now nearly pitch black as its primary light source, sunlight, has all but completely blotted out. The food is darker still. The sub-sandwiches, Chinese noodles, and rice, and Sabaro's pastries and pizzas have lost their color and form as they also turn into slag.
There's nothing left.
Jenna sighs.
God damn it, I'm so hungry. I just hope that, what we ate before passed through and it's just enough. We don't get any type of nasty stuff inside us. Oh, that's true.
Yeah, there could be that nasty gunk that, like, the food literally inside them turns to, like, worm nastiness.
Aye.
The two look down at one of the shoppers' heads on the floor, separated from its body and still staring ahead mindlessly in a pool of its own gunk. They don't remark on it. It really must be a common sight by now.
Mike?
Jenna says while the camera is still pointed at the floor.
What is it? That kid. You've got to be shitting me. What about him?
Mike walks off, only bringing the camera back up when he's a few feet away from a young boy, 5 or 6 years old. His gooey insides are still intact, for now, and he looks blankly into space like all the others. I put the pieces together on why Mike suddenly sounds so upset just before he confirms it.
Jen, that's me. Why am I here? Why?
She comes over to look at the young Michael, and then tries to comfort the adult one as he keeps the camera on the kid's eyes.
It doesn't mean anything.
She tells him.
How can you say that? Whatever created this place it pulled it from a pool of faces, maybe full of everyone who has ever came here. But that could be over 1 million people. Why did I just find a younger me? Where was he? How does... Whatever this is knows who I am. This is all so screwed up. It's messing with us. We're never going to get an answer. Let's just get back to looking for a door, or maybe focus on staying safe until the path opens for us.
Mike takes a deep breath and turns the camera back around to show the two of them again, both clearly exhausted. He works up the confidence to say,
The next time we turn this thing on, we will be filming our escape, or back in our hotel room. I'm sick of this place. I think that we'll be taking our channel into a different direction after this.
They both lock eyes and share a brief kiss before this video ends.
Damn.
What a good file.
Damn, that's insane. Because I know,
that was a good one.
Again, we talked about it earlier. Like, what if they run into them kids like themselves?
You predicted it.
Like, I meant it more as like if they did go into the past.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I meant. And I should have thought about, like, he said he came here all the time as a kid. He's gonna run. I should have thought like he's gonna run into himself.
Honestly, really powerful. I really like that.
I really enjoyed
himself.
That. It's a very So clearly, there's more to it than just. I don't know. I think Mike has a lot to do with the. I don't know. So not like some type of connection, but like either a connection with Michael, or the entity is maybe going off of like Michael's like memory of the place.
Yeah.
Or something like that, because he's the one that got really close to the thing and almost decided to touch it. So I'm wondering if it like got to him or so. I don't know, but
no, I'm completely down with like what you're saying. This place is devolving. I mean, everything is just turning into black goo and it's like becoming all disgusting, and they're worried that literally what they've eaten is like turning into goo inside of
Yeah,
them.
God almighty.
That's just that is horrific.
Right. So as they, as they ended it, they clearly said that next time we turn this camera on, next time we start something, we're going to be out of here.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's going to be the
I
case.
don't feel like that's going to be the answer. I feel like they turned it back on because like something happened.
Yeah.
Let's keep reading. File number 22.
Unfortunately, Mike lied.
Ah, damn it.
Created another 2 hours later. This one starts with another shot of the skylights and part of the wall right beneath them. But now, finally, it seems things are reverting. The thick fog of particles has disappeared, and there's a few feet worth of more recent aged atrium wall between the ceiling windows and the black goop, which is no longer actively moving. Instead, the material's now like a dried, flaking crust. Only a few chunks break off of the mass and turn to dust on the way down. It's as if the 2013 version of the mall is emerging from a cocoon.
Hey, it's us again. Hopefully for the last time.
Mike says and gets both of them back in frame. Their eyes are half closed and they look ready to sleep for a week.
Well, we still couldn't find a way out, but it's starting to look like we just have to keep waiting a little longer. Sleepy Pines is returning to normal. Very slowly.
Jenna adds.
Yeah. Look at this.
In a sweeping 360-degree shot, he throws off the atrium and the three main hallways. It's all coated black, including the floor, turning the place into a demented Dali painting. It absorbs all the color and most of the light, but there is enough sheen to the crusty darkness to make out its melted wax shapes and texture. The two stand to avoid sitting on the stuff, since all the chairs and couches are also gunkified. Even the fountain has been affected, and it's now just a solid black basin that still holds its water.
All the people are gone, melted into the floor.
Mike sighs.
The fragrance fiend has been MIA for a while, so I think we scared her off or something. It's all coming to an end.
I begin to feel some relief myself. After having an elevated heartbeat for nearly an hour from the safety of my office chair, I start hoping again that they made it out, but just dropped the camera on the way. I look at the little thing on my desk, my mind trying to process the idea that it had been twisted into a very different size, shape, and model before being twisted right back again. Mike goes on to say,
We still don't know what happened to our phones, so hopefully we'll be able to flag down a car, get some food, get back to our hotel, close the curtains, sleep. Sound good, Jen? Jen?
He looks over to see her staring down at her shoes. When he quickly gets into frame, they've changed back into a modern pair of sneakers.
Mike, it worked.
Jenna murmurs.
Yeah, I guess. It took a long time. Did you feel anything? My feet tingled for a second, and then I looked down and...
She stops suddenly as a loud thundering crack echoes throughout the atrium.
What the hell is that?
Mike exclaims and swings the camera all the way around to show a large segment of the melted black wall near the KB toy store breaking apart.
Jen, I think it's speeding up. We might be able to just get out of here in a few minutes. Oh, thank God.
She breathes out. The wall cracks again, and the torrent of ooze, which never dried, comes pouring out. Mike takes a step back, and the three of us watch in dread as an inky arm emerges from the opening, the claw-covered hand grasping the side to tear open the rest of the chrysalis.
Ooh.
Like a grotesque insect emerging from the inside, 4 more arms spring out and quickly rip apart the shell.
Hang on.
A deformed Hulk.
Wait, hang on, Taylor. I think I have a... Before we get a little too much farther, I kind of have a theory now. I think...
What is it?
Because, we know they've gone missing. I wonder if now they're in his time, like the narrator's time, and they're still like in the wall or something, or like they're somewhere.
Oh, so they're trying to break out of, like, they're trapped inside the walls of this mall.
Yeah, or like behind the mural, because wasn't that the whole thing that they were tearing down the mural and
Yeah.
they found the
Yeah.
camera behind it?
Yeah, so it's almost like they are trying to break from the cocoon of
Like,
the mall.
what if they're
in the
there?
Mall. Yeah, the mall is the cocoon.
In this time now.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was just a theory. That was just a theory. I wanted to stop and kind of think about that.
No, I like that a lot.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
A deformed, hulking mass, over 7 feet tall, lurches forward, its 4 legs and 9 arms wriggling about as if they're trying to free themselves from the true owner of the body. The disgusting and horrifying chimera has 5 mouths, at least, that I can see. But only a single eyeball manages to protrude from the dripping, fleshy shadow. Multiple voices, all of them dissonant and guttural, manage to gurgle out.
Try our new full scent.
Oh.
Oh, Jesus.
Gosh. She's back.
Jesus Christ.
Mike yells out and grabs for the tripod, resting against one of the lounge chairs. Before he can grasp it, the monstrous creature emits a loud buzzing sound. The camera picks it up this time. For Mike and Jenna, it's so painful and deafening that they have to cover their ears. In doing so, Mike ends up flinging the camera away. It lands at an angle in the melted floor, where the dried ooze covers part of its lens. The moment the shrieking begins is also when more dead pixels start to appear, much faster than when it happened previously. Every 2 or 3 seconds that pass, another one pops up. I'm still able to see enough of the scene that follows to discern what happened. Though in pain, the couple manage to get their weapons, and as the creature stumbles into frame, Mike hits its body and multiple arms with his tripod several times with as much force as he can muster. Jenna jams the metal bar into its body, but it gets lodged into the mass and starts sinking into it. When she realizes she can't pull it out, she begins spraying the creature with foam from the fire extinguisher. It seems to slow it down, but that isn't enough for either of them. They know they need to destroy it, or at least try to. Its body is covered in foam, and may be blinded by it. Jenna shoves the entire red canister into one of its mouths. Mike bashes the fire extinguisher in deeper with the tripod, and the handle audibly gets squishes within its maw. More foam is dispensed directly down its gullet, paralyzing the abomination. Jenna grabs Mike's hand and gestures towards the fountain, I guess seeing it as their best option, though I lack the information to know exactly what they expect it to do for them. Even so, they run off into the background of the shot and visibly jump into the water. They don't emerge before the video ends. In the last 10 seconds after the foam stops pouring out of the creature's mouth, it collapses onto the ground, where it starts crawling towards the fountain, screeching and sprouting more arms as it does so. With over half the video's pixels either dead or showing nothing but the blackness of the lens it's sinking into, the clip finally ends on its own, likely because the camera is too badly damaged to continue recording.
Damn. But there's still one more file.
Yep.
Holy shit.
One more. You want to just truck through this one and then give our final thoughts?
Well, yeah. Because I want to get into it, but we'll go on, continue. File number 23. Last file.
I want a conclusion, but I should have expected that I wouldn't get one. My PC never generated a thumbnail for this final file, so I knew in advance that there would be something wrong with it. The warning about it being damaged doesn't deter me from trying alternate ways to see it inside. The file size is over 25 megabytes, so there has to be something within its bits. Eventually, after trying several file restoration and video editing programs, I managed to extract some information. It's 9 seconds long, though that means little when everything about the file is corrupted to begin with. The audio is nothing but a loud buzz similar to what the creature let out, and nearly every frame of the video is just a mess of jumbled greens and blacks of more unreadable data. Even so, I want to say I did everything possible, so I go through the video frame by frame, all 60 of them for each second. Only 2 frames, one 5 seconds in and the other just at the end, survived and are decipherable, despite still having a flood of pink dead pixels. The first is a single frame of Sleepy Pines during the day, looking normal with a few shoppers walking about. Many of the stores are closed or empty, but the arcade is still open, placing this image sometime before 1998, but after the events across the rest of the files. The other one takes me back to where it all began, showing the totem in the lost and found room, blurred by camera motion. It's a duplicate frame from file 10. The remaining several hundred frames remain corrupt, and the date created for number 23 defaults to the Unix time of January 1st, 1970. I don't think the last file was created by pressing the record button. My guess is that it was generated via hardware error, possibly while the camera was reverting back to its natural form, but that doesn't explain where it could have pulled that picture of the mall in decline taken years ago. I stay up for another hour into the night, researching anything I could think about the mall, or Mike or Jenna. I find the commercial we saw being shot by the Corvette on YouTube. I almost believe I might see the couple walking about in the background, but I go through the retro 30-second spot for the mall several times, and none of the featured smiling shoppers look anything like them. Even so, seeing all the era-appropriate clothing and the appearance of the mall makes me appreciate just how accurately the strange, unknown, and missing device managed to recreate the place from the past. And then at 4 in the morning, just as I'm starting to crash, something casts doubt on the geniusness of everything I just saw. Although Mike never posted about it on what little social media presence he had, I find through another student's Facebook post from Mike's university days that he attended several specific effects classes in his junior and senior years. I go to bed thinking about what this might mean, and how it could have all just been an elaborate underground art project. Maybe Mike had melted several cameras and placed them about in random malls to attract attention to himself, or become a star of some new urban legend. He and Jenna could very well be missing on their own accord, just to make it all appear authentic. Even with those doubts, I go through the files several more times across the following days, looking for any giveaways that everything was faked, albeit very well. But I'm not very good at spotting the tricks he could have used, or seeing the imperfections in any elements you'd need a computer to render. I have lunch with the buddy who gave me the camera a week later, and tell him about it. We end up having a laugh, and he gets me out of the rut that resulted from my viewing experience by telling me that he was almost certain it was all faked, because it just sounds too Hollywood horror to be true. In a few years, Mike, and maybe Jenna as well, would surely emerge as modern artistic visionaries. Everyone that found the copy of their videos would have something worth a small fortune on their hands. But despite saying all of that, as we head out of the restaurant, he does mention 2 final little details. The camera, turns out, was found somehow embedded inside one of the mall floor tiles. Oh, and one more thing. Early in the demolition, his crew found a metal bucket in one of the food court kitchens with several unexplainable bite marks around the edges, like someone with a strong pair of chompers smacked on it. He gets quiet for a moment after revealing these findings, but then grins and adds, maybe those 2 kids were just that good. Maybe, but I can't bury the part of me that believes everything I saw, and knows deep down that everything that happened to Mike and Jenna is, in fact, a mystery. While I'm still in the area, I drive to what remains of Sleepy Pines one last time, and on that visit, I get a really good look at the mural, coming up close to it. While my mind fixates on what might have transpired on the now barren grounds, I try to remember what it was like whenever I was younger, back whenever I first visited the mall, and had studied the intricate swirls finding secret critters amongst the dark forest. At first, I think they're all still there, just waiting to be broken apart and tossed into a landfill, but on closer inspection, I find that the elegant brushstrokes of the nighttime woods suddenly end and are not present in the last third of the mural on the left side, where it is still blank and incomplete in Mike and Jenna's videos. The paint is still there, as are the trees and the dark colors of the ominous forest, but the subtle texture only the touch of a human hands could recreate has been replaced by something mechanical. What was changed and then changed back is now an unfeeling reproduction that could never get right the true authenticity of real historical art made by someone who cared.
Holy shit.
It's solid. It's really freaking
Yeah,
good. I liked it.
that's a solid story. I really enjoyed that. It has a lot of like fantasy elements, a lot of horror elements, a lot of unanswered questions, which I like that about some stories where it leaves you kind of with like try to let you know, like, or try to let you think about what happened.
Yeah.
Like, how do you come to the conclusion of what happened? Like, and I always like stories like that. I don't need it spell out for me that, you know, this is exactly what happened to Mike and Jenna. This is like where they are now. They're dead. Like we can come to that conclusion ourselves that they're probably dead.
Oh yeah.
Like,
and I'm reading it right here
to them. And I'm wondering, what do you think about the bucket in the back? What do you think about
So
that?
I think the bucket is from that monster, is from the perfume lady, and I think that might have been one of the items that they were fighting her with, and maybe it just chomped and made the indents and whatnot. I'm reading back down at the bottom, and it's talking about the painting and how it's not completely finished,
Yeah.
and it's incomplete, just as it was in Mike and Jenna's videos. With reading that, I'm thinking, I'm starting to feel that this place is creating its own narrative and storyline, and that the painting is basically just almost like whenever you go into a church and you're looking on the walls and you see all this symbolism for the story that's happening around it. Whenever these horrific events maybe happen in the mall, what if like it's being depicted upon on the wall, and like the perfume lady is somewhere intertwined in this painting, like, and it just has so much symbolism like in each small part, because I mean, as they say, things from a distance look like trees, and then you get up closer and it looks like all these creatures and bugs and monsters.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking that the painting just has a lot to it. And was there a picture of the painting at the beginning?
Yeah, I think that's so they're talking about taking down the picture at the beginning of the story, like, and that's how they found it, because they're like a demolition crew.
Yeah.
And they're taking down the mall, and he talks about the painting.
Yes.
Yeah, clearly there's a lot more to the story, and I think that's where more of the sequel and prequel are going to come into. But I think we need to do a little bit more research on what's going to make more sense to read first.
It said the prequel would make most sense first.
The
I
prequel
believe
will make more sense. Okay.
Yeah, you do prequel and then sequel, I think.
Because I didn't know if we were going in like the aliens direction. Like, do we go forward and then go backwards, or do we, you know?
Yeah, because it says before you read the
where it
sequel,
starts in the middle, prequel, and then the sequels.
It says before you read the prequel, which is titled Sleepy Pines, that you should read Dead Mall first, and then it says for Dead Pines, which is the sequel, you need to read Dead Mall and Sleepy Pines first.
Sleepy Pines, I don't know. That's a great story. Also, something that I really enjoyed with this story is how they described a lot of the things happening around them. Like, this is just the author in general. They did a really good job on that. I'm gonna say that 100%. They did a 100% great job. I'm definitely really excited to look into doing the prequel. But if you're at the end of the podcast, then yes, thank you so much for being here. This was a great story. This was first episode of unnamed podcasts.
Yes. No, it's the first episode.
I think from what Taylor had talked about, Taylor doesn't want this to be Fear Talk Radio because, you know, Fear Talk Radio is like the news. And then I told him, I was like, well, what if we just kind of shorten it to just Fear Talk? Or like, you know, this is just the, you know, us talking about like, you know, the scary stories and stuff like that, just shorten it down to that. Or Fear Talk Campfire stories. I don't know. It's a whole thing that we're still trying to figure out. Hell, we might not even have a name for it right now. Like Taylor said, we might not. Who the hell knows? But you know what?
Yeah.
It honestly doesn't matter because I would love to do more of these in the future.
Oh, no, this was so much fun, and I'm excited to see exactly how this story was created. And I think from what it seems like, this one you're going to need to read the prequel and stuff because it leaves very
It leaves a
open-ended.
lot of questions. But the thing is like with the prequel, I'm trying to figure out like how far in the past are we going? Like, are we going to like the 1990, like when the mall was built? Like, are we going to be we're not going to be. I don't think we'd be following Mike and Jenna again. Like, I don't think that's something we would be doing with them.
Actually, I'm just looking at the beginning, and it looks like it's someone who found the posting that our old author made from Dead Mall, and they're
Mm,
basically writing about it. Like, and they're
okay.
talking about their own experience. So, anyways, that'll be for whenever we get to that.
Yeah.
Um,
But
cool. With all that being said,
yeah.
this might be cut if we add more, but if not, thank you all so much for tuning in. And I hope that you don't find yourself in a terrifying mall that will suck you into the black walls of ooze with its nasty worm-like tentacles.
I'm also
And
never
have
going to be
a
able to. I'm never going to be able to go to a mall again and see those salespeople in the middle the same.
oh yeah, especially if they have like yellow teeth.
I'm gonna be like, I'll fucking kill you.
I will hit you upside the head with a crowbar.
Don't fucking tempt me. I don't care about your fall seasonal perfume. Fuck out of here. Get out of here.
I don't want the perfume.
I don't want your.
But with that being said, thank you all for watching and have a great night, morning, evening, whenever it might be. Bye.
Also, be sure to follow us on TikTok